In last week's video, I was
sculpting with Milliput, and I thought it would be fun to take an old Harry Potter toy, looks like he's been hit in the head one too many times with a quaffle, and transform him into the Marvel superhero, the Falcon.
This week, I'm painting the Falcon.
This is Laura's art basement. Last week I sculpted the Falcon using Milliput, an epoxy putty. And this week, I'm going to paint him.
You guys, I think it's a staring contest.
Just blink, sweet Jesus.
The magnets in his feet allowed me to hot glue metal plates onto a Lazy Susan. And that way he would stand up and I could turn him as I painted. I decided to make a homemade black wash that I would paint on him, and it would settle into the low areas and show off some of the detail. Problem was it went on too thick, and he looked like he rolled around in an oil slick. That wasn't a problem because I knew I was going to dry brush on some white paint afterwards to make the highlights show up. Then I went over some of the creases with the black wash to make them stand out even more. This method of underpainting works very well with an airbrush, but since I no longer have a compressor, I'm going to have to hand paint. So the trick was to try and hand paint a very thin coat, thinning out the paint so that the underpainting shows through. I did the underpainting knowing that hand painting over it might not work. But if it did work, it would add an extra layer of dimension. As I painted the larger areas, I could see that the thin paint was going to leave streaks. I wasn't going to get a nice finish, so I had to make the decision to paint thicker layers of paint and lose some of the underpainting. Painting wet on wet allowed me to blend the colors and recapture some of the tones that I was losing in the underpainting. When it comes to the edging and the fine lines, I resort to pulling out the magnifying light to make sure that I can see the details. It was hard to find a photo that had the wing pack for the Falcon, so I had to improvise a little bit with the bits of it that I could see in photos. The red is not as opaque as the other colors, so the undercoating actually shows through nicely. To make life easier, I used an X-Acto knife and cut thin strips out of painter's tape that I used as masking when painting the stripes. The trick is to have the tape follow the curves of the body. Any imperfections can be fixed using a detailed rigger brush after the tape is removed. When painting fine detail, you should always anchor your hand onto whatever the object is that you're painting. If there's no place to put your hand, you'll notice that I use both my hands and lean on the table and use my second hand as an anchor point. This was a fun art challenge. It gave me a chance to sculpt with Milliput, and I think it turned out well. I think people looking at the Falcon would never realize that it used to be a Harry Potter toy. Subscribe to be notified when a new art video is posted. And don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video.